for those of you who don't know about Village Talk, it's a model that we utilize at Eight Shields. It's become sort of our central heartbeat, our drumbeat for our mentoring community globally, and it's getting to be more so all the time. So I hope you'll consider at least testing it out and checking it out and seeing what you think. But Village Talk is something that is a great example of a process and an element that we're going to put on the table for you guys to look at, to understand how it works and how that influences us all to mentor in modern times. And it's an unlikely model. I'm not sure. It's like Matt was saying. Where would we be without it? It's come to the point in my life where, even though I have neighbors and friends that live around me, Village Talk has become an anchor for me in a very real way. I'm on 3 calls a week often, and actually participating in a live mentoring village that's actually practicing mentoring while learning mentoring. And everybody who's on this call with us today has really deepened their skills as mentors over the years. I've gotten to know these people, and I have very long relationships with a lot of them that go back decades. And it's exciting to have us all working together. We were all just reflecting on that the other day in our staff room breakout when we were talking as staff on the 11 o'clock call. Just what this experience is to us, and it teaches us about mentoring in modern times, because we all know we need mentoring, and we all know that it's missing around us. And then the huge question comes right in behind that: how do we replace mentoring when it's been lost? And it's a big question. And yeah, so I'm going to move us over to the screen share now and share with you guys, our mentoring in modern times presentation. And Devin, you're going to be deciding who's on the big screen, I guess. So here we go. So, and I got to get over to my slide here real quick. All right. So first, we have to offer gratitude for all of nature that supports us. And I just love this picture of the Earth. We used it in our last webinar too. It just reminds us of how unique this planet is, and also what a special thing it is to be able to be here talking to each other live from this beautiful planet. And last night we had a little fire in our backyard because we were celebrating the first fish caught by Finch, who's my son, sitting in the chair facing the fire, and my daughter Willa, who's sitting with her pink pants and purple shirt behind Jack, who's holding the fish in his hands. And you're looking at my neighbors, you're looking at people who were willing to come over at the last second and celebrate something with my children, to really mark a moment of passage, a rite of passage. And these are all families who have been involved in art of mentoring, and who are good friends of my children, whose children go to Fox Tracks. And Garrett Conway, if you don't know Garrett at Eight Shields, he's leaning in the chair in the front there, leaning back with a big smile on his face. And that's our collective brood there. A lot of dads. April was laughing and saying, I notice it's all fathers with children and young men, and there's hardly any moms here. So that's just what happened. When you call people at the last minute because a fish was caught today, please come over, and everyone did, and I just hold that picture up as a gratitude, because it is us putting our village back together. I mean, we are quite literally, reinventing the village by holding space for it and creating it, as an art project. I mean, really, literally, that's what it is. I mean, there is no department of mentoring. There is no department of culture repair. You and me, everybody on this call, anyone who's hearing the recording or watching this later, we are our own department of mentoring and our own department of culture repair. It's up to us to create what we want our children to grow up in. It's up to us to create what we as individuals need to grow. And I hope that this webinar goes a long way to helping you. And I just also want to thank all the amazing people at Village Talk who have been volunteering for as long as you have, and those of you who have been attending as participants. I just want to thank all of you for joining us. And, we'll start here that, what Village Talk has done for me. This is Kirsten Segler. She's one of the conductors and co-hosts from the 11 o'clock call. She's also a translator when I'm over in Germany teaching. And she helped to translate Coyote's Guide into German. So many times it brought me exactly the wisdom I needed to hear in the very moment I listened to it, either live or recorded, either through the keynote or through something one of the participants shared. It's one of the pieces that helps balance everything that's stressful, hectic, and frightening, and helps me to hold my inner peace. Kirsten is speaking to the power of having good conversation with people who truly listen. And I'm really grateful for Kirsten's participation. It's been wonderful. So mentoring. The first thing, you see, we take quite a bit of time to share gratitude. Some people will say, they'll look at their watch and they'll be like, well, if I knew you guys were going to waste all this time giving thanks, I would have joined you at 12:25 today instead of at 12. Why are you wasting my time on this gratitude thing? We model it because we know that gratitude builds the container. On the Art of Mentoring audio that we produce at Owlink Media, you'll hear the late Chief Jake Swamp, our ancestor now, our Uncle Jake, the late wonderful wise elder from the Haudenosaunee, from the Kanienga Mohawk community at Akwesasne. He was a sub-chief of the Wolf Clan, which made him one of the 50 chiefs of the Grand Council of the Haudenosaunee, and he was also the founder or co-founder of the Tree of Peace Society. And he worked with us and shared with us from 1990 until his passing a couple years back, very closely, very interested in the Eight Shields model and helping us to build solid community building structures into our process. And he emphasized to us that gratitude actually builds the container. When we take time to give gratitude, and when we actually take time for each person to express gratitude and to use their own voice to utter gratitude, it actually creates a fabric of trust, listening, empathy, and openness. And mentoring requires trust, empathy, listening, and openness. So pay attention to that. Gratitude is not just something you do. You don't just give it lip service. You drop into your being and you give it from your heart. And it plays a very important role in our container at Village Talk, but also at all our programs and even our staff meetings. We use gratitude to build a container so that we can use mentoring as our process. Mentoring is something that Eric Liu, the author of a book about mentoring, Guiding Lights, he basically pulled together 75 of us to come to a conference in Seattle. I know he still does that conference, but I can't always get to it. But the one year that inspired me, they both inspired me. Then I was there 2 times, but the one year really inspired me when I realized that I was sitting in the room with 75 people who were all identified as mentors. And the one thing we all had in common was that we were all mentored in our earlier years, in that basically mentoring begets mentoring. And so this brings up a huge question. If I did not receive good mentoring, can I be a mentor? And the answer is yes, and we'll address that in this particular webinar. The 8 attributes of connection is the mission and vision of 8 Shields. We are now aware, thanks to Josh Lane's insight, hey, when people do enough nature connection mentoring with us, they develop these attributes: happiness, vitality, listening, empathy, initiative, aliveness, compassion, and forgiveness, and the quiet mind. These are all things that are required for excellent mentoring, but these are also things that come from excellent mentoring. So you can see the positive feedback loop already building, and I'm sure you're also wondering, well, gosh, what about the negative feedback loop? What if I don't have happiness? What if I'm not vital? What if I can't listen or don't know how? What if I don't have empathy? What if I don't know how to take initiative? And what if I don't feel alive? I don't have compassion, I'm not forgiving, and I don't have a quiet mind. Does that mean am I in trouble here? Well, I would say that you're not in trouble, but that just means you're a good candidate to learn mentoring, and you'll learn mentoring through mentoring.